Good morning. I'm State Representative Blaine Wilhire from South Central Illinois. First of all, thank everybody for being here. And, our first and foremost, our hearts and our prayers go out to those across this state and across this country that have experienced loss, the families, and those that are still fighting for recovery now. And we want to thank the first responders, the law enforcement officers, the mental health clinicians, the hospital folks, and all those people that rise up to the occasion. But we're here today because we need to talk about real action. We need to have real discussions about the serious underlying issues that are driving a culture of violence in this state. And we need to have conversations based around a holistic approach about why mental health has deteriorated in recent years. Is it because of lack of funding? Is it because of lack of availability? Generations of broken families? Is it because public policy that has robbed too many communities of opportunity and hope for the future? Is it a lack of respect for law enforcement personnel from the top down in this state? Is it video games that young people are so involved in that glorify violence and death? I don't know the answers to all of these questions. Nobody knows the answers to these questions, but neither do you guys. And I think that's something that we need to talk about here, because nobody talks about it. It's easy to throw out red meat on more restrictions, but if more restrictions was the sole answer, we wouldn't be having this discussion today. What we need is real leaders that are going to bring all the stakeholders to this discussions, all the stakeholders from every side of these issues, and we need leadership that's going to encourage that no solutions are off the table on this issue. So thank you for being here, Senator Bailey.
Well, thank you, Representative Wilhire, for being here today, and I also want to thank a group of amazing sheriffs from my district, Southeast Illinois, who have come up here and want to stand in support to the problems that they are facing with law enforcement and mental health in our state. So thank you for being here. Before I begin, I want to apologize again for my comments on Monday. Look, you guys know me. I'm a father, I'm a grandfather, and Cindy and I are heartbroken for these families. The thought that my initial response could have caused more pain is certainly something that will keep me up at night, and I'm sorry. As it says in Psalm 112, clothe yourself with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. I need to be better at that, and I ask for your forgiveness. As we continue to hold up the families in prayer that have been afflicted by this recent violence, it's also time to speak the truth about the violence that racks our state, particularly in Chicago and the surrounding areas. The suffering, the loss, and the pain is absolutely nightmarish and ongoing, and it doesn't have to be this way. Today, I'm calling for a special session of the Illinois State Legislature to take action to stop the mayhem on our streets. We must do whatever it takes to address the breakdown in mental health, particularly among isolated young men, which was made immeasurably worse during Pritzker's lockdowns. We must repeal Pritzker's Coddle the Criminal Acts, the No Cash Bail, and the Safety Act. We must surge police support in Chicago and the surrounding areas. The Illinois Firearm Restraining Act is on the books, and it should have been used. The Highland Park shooter was posting violent videos with an intent to attack. The shooter could have been stopped, and would have been stopped if Governor Pritzker and the government were living up to their true duty to protect the innocent. Let's be clear. Governor Pritzker, this happened on your watch. You've got more gun control laws than almost anywhere else in America. Our problems are more complex than just more restrictive gun laws on law-abiding citizens. The Firearms Restraining Act would have prevented the tragedy on the 4th, but you buried it. You left it moldering in some bureaucratic basement somewhere. Your watch, Governor. It's not enough to pass laws. You have to do the hard work to make sure that the laws do what they were intended to do. Gun owners, let's get real. The Firearms Restraining Act exists, and we need to stop pretending that it doesn't. If we have to amend it to make sure that it protects our constitutional rights, well, let's take a look at that. But for Pete's sake, let's use it. This unspeakable tragedy happened in an affluent, mostly white neighborhood, so it's getting national news. But we must not forget that more than 60 people have been shot in and around Chicago already in July. 1 week. 10 died before Monday. 4 people were shot in West Garfield Park over the weekend. 2 women were shot in Chinatown because they got caught in a crossfire. A teenage girl was shot and killed in a little village. A 90-year-old man was found lying where he was shot in the stomach in Lawndale. Governor Pritzker, the pain in Highland Park, West Garfield Park, Edgefield Park, and even in the Loop, this is all on your watch. The loss of life of these African American and minority communities matters just as much as the tragedy in Highland Park. But Governor Pritzker, you never talk about them, and it's time that you own it. Use the laws on the books. Repeal no cash bail. Repeal the Safety Act, which should be renamed the Enable Homicide Act. It's been 4 years and nothing has changed. How much longer do the people of our state have to suffer? As for mental health, the suffering is enormous. Among the issues that I've heard, long wait times, burdensome paperwork, shortage of providers at all levels, especially psychiatrists, and not enough funding. We must bring everyone involved in mental health care to the same table and figure out some solutions. I'm talking about doctors, first responders, patients, and home caregivers, parents, teachers, and churches to identify the gaps that these tormented people are falling through and find solutions. Creating such a group will be item number 1 in the special session that I'm proposing. The time for talking is over. It is time to take action. Thank you. And I'll take some questions.
Senator, you're talking about better enforcement of the firearm restraining law, but you also voted against the Fix the Floyd law. So what do you tell the folks in Highland Park about? How do you reconcile those two?
I'm telling the people that the law is on the books, and it was ignored. We didn't. No one, government, starting at the top with Governor Pritzker, ignored it. It wasn't used, and if it would have been used, it could have prevented this. And that's why I'm calling for special session.
Should it stay on books?
Well, I don't believe it's going to disappear anytime soon under this political climate that we're in, and it's certainly not a top priority because that would not happen under this political climate that we're in. We've got it. We need to use it.
Senator Bailey, we have a question from Craig Wall at ABC 7 in Chicago. He asked, in 2019, you raffled off an AR-15 to raise money for your campaign. In light of the Highland Park shooting, do you now regret that? And would you hold a similar raffle now that you're running for governor?
I held that raffle in full accordance with all the laws in Illinois. And let's be real, Illinois has some of the most restrictive gun laws in the state. And the reality is, with that type of gun, it's people most of the people that are buying them for self-defense. Those are the facts.
Senator, you've been beating the drum in terms of the need for more funding for mental health, but you voted against the governor's budget, which included more than $200 million to fund these violence prevention groups, which, among other things, would, provide, mental health services for people who are most at risk of being a victim or perpetrator of violence. So, how do you vote against that, but call for more mental health resources?
I believe we have everything within our budget. Instead of increasing spending, we simply must reprioritize the spending. To your point, we've been passing new laws, we've been developing new agencies, and under Governor Pritzker's watch, it simply isn't working, and it's time to do something real.
How much money
We're going to go back to Tony and then Cole.
On voiding the FOID card, but the FOID card process is where these background checks and all of these, red flags can pop up. What would are you campaigning to replace the FOID card? Would you?
Well, I disagree with your statement. The FOID card system is simply to pilfer money from people's pockets. That's all it does. We have the federal firearm background check. We have age limits. We have waiting periods. We have the Firearms Restraining Act, which was passed to take care of this very issue. It's not working. The FOID card's not working, and it needs to go.
We'll do one more question from Tony, then we're going to be done.
Because governments, that's why I want to call this special session. I want to find out why government didn't enact this, and it starts at the top. Governor Pritzker failed in enacting this Firearms Restriction Act. I'm sorry.
Would that have prevented what happened in Highland Park if we didn't have the FOID system in place?
No. We have a law on the books, the Firearm Restraint Act, and as far as I can tell, that bill looks like it should have caught it, but it's not being used. It's another law. People come here to Springfield, they want to pass more laws, they think passing laws is the solution. That time's wasted if we don't have a leader that holds these laws accountable and makes sure that they work. That's where the system messed up at.
So why is a task force the best solution?
Well, because we are in a dire situation, and it is time to come together right now while people are still suffering and healing in the hospitals in Highland Park. The time is now. We cannot afford to let this happen again. And to your point, many times when there are task forces, nothing ever becomes of it. We have the opportunity for the Illinois state government to do something real right now, something we've been talking about forever. That's why I'm calling for special session.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming out here today.